everybody, and welcome back to another video. And if you're here for the very first time, it is lovely to meet you. I'm Jane and my husband Mike is behind the camera. We're British, early retirees, we have no debt and we've paid off the mortgage, and we live a thrifty, frugal and money-saving life here in Brittany in northwest France. And every Wednesday we invite you in for a midweek money chat. And this week we're going to have a chat about the 5 ways that our lives changed for the better for living off a frugal budget. Every single month, on the last day of the month, we set our budget for next month, and every month it is a unique written budget. And the great thing about that, and the thing that really gives us a great life that we feel really suits us, is we know where every penny is going to go. We know how much we're going to spend on food, how much we're going to spend on fuel for the car, how much we're going to spend on our pets or pet food or grooming that month or a haircut, or how much we're going to spend on clothing. So we've got that real knowledge each and every month where our money is going to go. It really is a good feeling. There's no loose ends, there's no surprises, there's nothing pops up, everything is budgeted for. And like I said, we know in advance at the beginning of every single month where every penny is going to go. Have you heard of the expression that there's more month than money? And in our way distant past, I'm talking like more than 20 years ago, we sometimes came to that point. At the end of the month, there was not a penny left. Well, budgeting has eradicated all of that. It's eradicated all of those worries and concerns of will we have enough money left for the month. I grant you, it takes some monitoring and we track our spending. And if we have 65 euros in a month for pet food and we spend 49 of that 69, we know the difference that is left that can carry over if we need to. We always put a buffer in our budget, even if it's just 40 euros at the end of the month that we leave there unspent. And that might mean in January there might be 100 euros in the buffer. We add to that, it becomes 140 in February. In March, we add to that, it might become 240. But budgeting allows that. It allows that little bit extra in the account, just in case we want to spend it. So budgeting means that we know in advance at the beginning of every month where every penny is going to go. It means there's absolutely no budgeting surprises. What I really love about living on a written budget is I have no guilt with spending. I have permission to spend. We have permission to spend. We know exactly how much we've got to spend on food. And within that month, if we are under budget, so my budget, our budget, I beg your pardon, is 300 euros a month for 2 adults. All food, all drink, all toiletries, all cleaning products, all bathroom products, everything. 300 euros a month. We're well under budget this month, but it gives me permission that I can go and spend on some extra. I can put more into my pantry. I can put more into the freezer. I can go out and buy more laundry liquid or more toilet paper or more cleaning products to stash away for any months where we might not want to spend our money on that. So I love that about being on a budget. It's a very relaxing way of spending. We, both of us, have a clothing budget. We have 300 euros each a year for our clothing budget. For coats, for shoes, for bags, anything that we want to buy. 300 euros a year. And I can just go and buy clothes within that budget and not feel guilty about it at all. I have a budget, we have a budget because we both have hair, for having our hair cut. We can have our hair cut and not feel guilty about it at all. We also have, on a spend month, not on a no spend month, we have discretionary spending. We give each other, some of you might call it a kind of pocket money. We just take from the budget €50 each a month and we take it in cash. We can do whatever we want with that. We can spend it, we can discuss it and say, look, we'll go out and spend it on going out to eat if we wanted to. Not that we often do. Last year we ate out 5 times. So that's not very many times in an entire year. So we can spend that on whatever we want, and it is completely guilt-free. Now lots of people will go, well, I'd want a lot more money to spend than that, but we are happy with that amount. So that's a great thing for us that we find for living on a budget, and we really feel that it's made our lives so much better of that guilt-free spending, because we've given ourselves in our budget permission to spend. Budgeting combined with frugality has meant that we have achieved our financial goals. Now, I was a high school teacher. Mike worked for local government. He worked in an office. We had very average paid jobs. I wouldn't even say they were well paid. We could have earned loads more money. You know, we could have gone off and become investment bankers. We had the ability, but we chose to do jobs within our community, things that had meaning and purpose to us. And the consequence of that, or the part of that, was, you know, we never really earned a great deal of money. So living on that budget and living frugally allowed us to achieve our goals, our way. We paid off debts. On one of the houses that we lived in, we had an extension built. We had what the British people would call is an outside building on the side of it, and we broke through the wall and had builders turn it into a wall. We borrowed money to do that, and we also borrowed money back then, all the way back then may I add, to buy a car. And by being super frugal, we paid off those debts in 2 years. We then downsized. Sort of part of being on a frugal budget for lots of people, isn't it, these days? Move out of one house into the smallest house that we could possibly bear to live in. And what we were able to do, because we had at that time a mortgage that was £777 a month. And what we always did every month is we rounded that up to 1,000, paying down more of the capital every single month to shorten the term of the mortgage. And that required budgeting. We could have taken our income every single month and spent loads more of it. We could have been eating out. I could have been having my hair done more often. I could have had, you know, eyelash extensions. I could have had my brows, you know, laminating your brows these days. I could have had lots of fancy clothes. We could have had a much, much better car. All sorts of things that we could have done with our money, but we didn't. We lived off that tight budget purposely to achieve our goals. So we always paid into our pensions every single month. It's part of what British people do. Having a pension is still quite normal in the UK. So your employer takes your money out of your wages each month. They add a little bit to it as well, and you get that. And you put your money in, you save that. And lots of you, I know you're working now and you're putting money aside each month for your pension. Some of you do it differently. So it enabled us to achieve the financial goals, to build up an emergency fund, to build it up from 1 month, up to 2 months, to 3 months, and then on to 6 months, and then eventually up to 12 months. And that doesn't happen overnight. You have to budget for that and put money aside for that. And then when you get there, because the cost of living increases, you have to keep growing it. And then it enabled us to set up sinking funds each month. So there was never any surprises. So when the car needs new tyres or the aircon needs topping up in the car, the money is there. It's been put aside. We've been thinking about that all last year and putting the money to aside. And then when we moved here, we were able to retire early. So in 2021 for me, and then 2022 for Mike, we were able to take those pensions that we've been paying into and saving up for, and take them at both of us, at me at 55 and Mike the year after, because he's a year younger than me, at his 55, and take our reduced pensions, because we knew that we had the skills to live off that small amount of money. small in comparison to some people. It's not obviously small, otherwise we wouldn't eat, would we? And then when we're here and earning money, the work that we do with YouTube and the money that comes in from our pensions, we're still saving now. We're still living on a budget now. And it means that we can get work done here. Our first big task here was we've got 2.5 acres of land here, and it was derelict. It was lumpy and bumpy, and it was covered in brambles up to your waist. It was covered in 36 fallen trees, and all the brambles had knotted into them. So we paid a contractor, and it took them 20 days to clear and flatten the land for us. And then we saved up again, and we were able to get the derelict barn on our land partly demolished and partly rebuilt and a new roof put on it. And then we went into savings cycle again. And last year we were able to get the immediate small piece of land outside of our house, have a driveway put in, have security fencing and gates put in, and a patio built. We're now back into the savings cycle again. And maybe the next project is going to be 2 to 3 years away. But by having that budget, those regular savings every month, putting that money aside, it means we can achieve our financial goals. They may not be your financial goals, but they suit us. It's what we want to do with our money. So there we go. It's a really good feeling to live off that budget, that frugal budget, because it helps us to achieve our financial goals. I'm a big Dave Ramsey fan, and if you follow him, you'll know that the 7 baby steps from getting from debt to number 7. Number 7 is build wealth. And we feel, as a couple, although on paper we wouldn't be classed as it, we feel extremely wealthy. And I want to share this with you. The greatest wealth for us is peace of mind. It really, really is. It's taken work to get here. It hasn't happened overnight, and it hasn't happened without sacrifice, and it hasn't happened without budgeting. We've had to budget. We've had to be frugal to get to where we are now. And we've been completely debt-free since 2011. So imagine all that money that went into paying debts after 2011 went into savings. We've been mortgage-free since 2018. We've not borrowed a single penny after that. We've consistently saved. Okay, to some of you might think, well, I've seen your budgeting. It's not a huge amount of money and it'll take a long time to achieve your financial goals. We're all right with that because we've got peace of mind. We're never cold. We're never hungry. We're always clean. We turn the taps on and hot water comes out. I open the fridge, it's full of food. I open the freezer, it's full of food. I open the larder, the pantry, it's full of food. I go to my clothes and I've got clean clothes, and my house is warm and comfortable. And that gives us incredible peace of mind from living on the budget. From living on a budget that some people might go, it's a bit frugal for me, it's a bit thrifty for me. But we are really, really happy with it. If you've got to this far in the video, we really want to thank you for watching. We thank everybody who hits that like button, and we ask you to hit the like button because it really does help the algorithm. And most of all, thank you to everybody who leaves a comment, and we promise you we read every single one of them. Thanks again, and we'll see you soon. Goodbye for now.